It's Sunday, and you know what that means. It's time to hunt some mother beeping ghosts. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. That's a different show. That's a different show. It's Saturday. I mean, Sunday.
Okay.
what kind am I going here? Let's start the show.
Oh my God! All right, hit it.
Where the hell am I?
Coming to you live from the FN Worldwide Media Studios, located in parts unknown.
It's the All Effin' Wrestling Show.
With your hosts, Canada Dry, in the JFB.
Tell me how it's priced. Tell me if the item is for sale. And tell me.
Good morning, afternoon. If I don't see you till later, keep my supper warm. Welcome to this week's edition of Wrestling with the Parrot. I mean, with the All Effin' Wrestling Show.
Go ahead to introduce.
I am, of course, the king of prediction wrestling. I am your top 10 of the top 10 of the top 10. I'm the 1%er. I'm the JFB, James from Boston.
Before I introduce myself, actually, I'll introduce myself after. That's what we'll do. I'm, of course, the patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm that gingered up, paranormal son of a bitch. I'm Ken effing Dry, damn it. Woo! And this is the only show made for wrestling fans.
Wrong show.
If for some reason you have a ghost in your house, call Canada Dry, because that guy's got a proton pack and it is full 100% nuclear. I'm just saying. Just saying.
You know what
Man,
this
that
calls
sucks.
for?
I've got to stretch over there.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. We'll let you. We'll bring in our guest, Bryce. How's it going, buddy? Eric, of course. Eric. Because your Facebook name is Bryce. Everyone calls you Bryce, but you're actually Eric.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He's got the
Or
little.
also known as Puke Nukem.
Yes, sir. Wait.
Hi.
You might see the guy running around somewhere.
This is good. Ah, come someone, suck a mighty.
What do you say? Suck my toe? What?
Bryce, you're out of here. Bring the kid back.
You've been replaced, boy.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, so
But
we got. It's been weird because I haven't been on a podcast with Liam in like ages. Like I feel like it's been like season 2 since the last time I saw him.
I think you guest starred on his show, but he didn't come on our show forever.
Yeah, it's been a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Right beneath me, hi, is of course the magician Liam Wakeland. How you doing, brother?
I'm very, very well, mate. It does actually feel like a while. I mean, yeah, busy guy as always. And I don't know, man. And I'm actually kind of angry because it's like you've not invited me for a while.
Yeah.
Hey, we invited you. Like, sorry, I'm busy that day. I gotta wash my hair.
Blame this guy.
Is there any way you can close that blind, Bryce or Eric? It's like the light is blocked. There you go. That's better. A little bit better.
A little bit better. Anyway,
It's bright there in Detroit because of the Lions.
We hope so. Hold on.
it's gonna be a great freaking game. I can't
hope
wait.
so.
I can't wait to watch it
I'm
tonight.
surprised you're rooting for him, being a Patriot fan and all.
Well, here's the deal. The Lions are probably the feel-good story of the NFL right now. I mean, they've never been to a Super Bowl. The city needs this. The fans need this. Screw San Francisco. They got 3 or 4 Super Bowls. Let's work the gimmick.
Everyone likes to root for the underdog.
Give me
Regardless of how you feel about Detroit or any of the other teams, you want the underdog to succeed.
just one before I die, please.
Yeah, and the best part is, I mean, Eminem shows up on the jumbotron, and all of a sudden, 85,000 fans start singing "Lose Yourself." Like that is freaking amazing. I love it.
We could have Taylor Swift versus
Eminem.
Eminem at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You love to see it. You love
the
to
ref?
see it.
Jason Kelsey.
yeah. We prefer Jason Kelsey in this house over Taylor Swift. Nothing against Tay Tay, but Jason Kelsey with no shirt on going.
You are not allowed to cheer for Taylor Swift. You have to say what she wants.
He's an East Coast guy. That makes sense.
So we got some people in the house. Alex Haney says, "All right, snot faces."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
all right,
He's still salty.
Jim Joe's in the house. What's up, guys? We got Noob, a.k.a. Tony Khan. Good afternoon. We got Rennie. What's going on? AFWS. And then, of course, Ravens and Lions in the Super Bowl, according to GM Joe. GM Joe, listen, I don't know about the Ravens, but...
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. Bret Hart's cheering for the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't know if I could root for the Ravens.
I'm on board with the Ravens just because of Bret. I saw the picture of them in the Ravens jersey. I'm like, okay, there's my team.
Okay. Can't beat it. Bret Hart said.
The only thing I disagree with Bret about is how good Rey Mysterio is. I'm not a huge Rey Mysterio guy, and he likes him so much.
Yeah. You can't always agree with him. Can't always agree with him. So you guys are wondering what is on tab for today. Well, we're not going to have a joke of the week. We're not going to have the news per se, but we are going to go right into our main event because this is a roundtable. And this is the roundest of roundtables because it is the all news edition. That's right. So,
but
yeah.
We will also go on side quests and try to save the world.
Oh, yeah. We'll go on a side quest. Absolutely.
Side quest? Nobody told me about this.
Oh, yeah. That's our new thing. We side quest the shit out of this thing.
Yeah. Now, before we get started, we got an interesting call in. We got GM Joe!
Oh, you couldn't stay away, you evil bastard.
I'm outside of a community center. My son's at a birthday party right now. That's why I couldn't be on the show today. But I did manage to sneak away just to say no one wants to see Kansas City in the Super Bowl except for Kansas City.
Yeah.
So come on over to the dark side, JFB. Root for the Ravens.
Kush is there partying alone, is what you're saying.
I could care less about Kush. Yeah.
Of course, here's Kush in the comments. Kush.
Oh, shit. That's my teammate. That's my friend.
Oh, God. I'll say this. I love Zay Flowers. He's a former Boston College graduate, Boston College Eagles player, drafted in the first round. It's been a long time since we've seen a BC Eagle get drafted in the first round. I will root for Zay Flowers. I'm gonna try to root for the Ravens. I will say this: the one thing I will not have if the Ravens make it to the Super Bowl is Ray Lewis at my house. He will not be here for my Super Bowl party.
Tiffany's calling us stooges. We got a couple. Who's the bald stooge?
I thought there were three stooges.
Yeah.
It is kind of it is kind of fitting because at one point in time there's been like 5 different Stooges.
Yeah.
So like Larry, Curly Moe, Joe, and Shep or something like that. So all right, guys, I'll let you go. I just wanted to call in and talk a little football.
All right,
I'll keep watching the show on YouTube, guys. See you later.
All right, we'll see you later.
Curly, that's Curly. We had 2 Curlys, a Larry, and a Mo.
Yeah, and a Shemp. Can't forget Shemp.
Shemp couldn't make it today.
And then there was Curly Joe. It's really not technically a stooge because he wasn't related.
Well, Shemp is even like it's not the same as replacements. Like,
yeah,
after what's her name left Three's Company, it wasn't quite the same.
No, it was nowhere near the same. Nowhere near the same. All right, well, you know what? Let's get started with our round table, and I'm going to go ahead and play our intro because you know what? Damn it, we got to have an intro. Gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Now, you could have played either intros for that. You could have played the news. You could have played the main event. So either way.
Yeah, either way it works because the main event is the news. And so we're going to start with AEW is bringing back the rankings. So now the word was CM Punk came into AEW. He wanted the ratings to be abolished. He didn't want them on there at all. Now that he's gone onto, well, different pastures, so to say, the rankings are back. So Canada Dry, let's start with you. How does this affect long-term and short-term booking for AEW?
I adore the ranking system. It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
you got storyline. You got to mix it in with everything. So like, as long as they got the right people to put it together,
yeah,
I love the ranking system, and it makes prediction league wrestling a little bit easier.
Yeah,
when you're picking guys, well, he's in the top of the ranking system, he's going to win. But yeah, I love. When winning makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's up there at the top of the ranking. So
yeah,
you can see who they're pushing and all that kind of stuff. It's I think it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Sports and entertainment.
Yep, absolutely. Let's go with Mr. Newcomb.
I personally like the ranking system. Honestly, it's what set AEW apart from WWE in the first place. It's one of those things where it's like, that's what they did when they first came out.
Yeah,
that's what made them different. I think it's going to suffer in parts of predictability. I think it's going to be a little more predictable, but I think in the long run, I think it's a better choice. To go back to what they were essentially doing before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we have someone backstage. It's our good old friend, that salty bastard. It's Alex Haney. Welcome. Whoa. I love your picture today.
Yeah,
your picture was outstanding.
I went with He-Man because obviously I'm the master of the universe, you know. So,
oh, Prince Adam, like that shirt.
No
one can tell you're He-Man when you wear that nice pink shirt.
I know, salmon.
I mean, it is salmon colored.
Salmon. It's on the West Coast here. On the West Coast.
Hello.
So, what do you think about the ranking system, Alex?
I'm not a big fan of the ranking system because I think it creates trouble down the line. I think in the short term it works, but long term it has to go away and then come back again, which is really what it suffered from at the tail end of the last time. It was once you've done the sort of hopefully I'm bringing it back. What he's done is he's laid out a whole sort of path for the next year to 18 months, you know, and what's to do with stories, and that really works. And that really worked the first time, but really what broke it, started breaking it the last time was the fact that he was coming to the end of that run. That initial plan was over, you know. It was we had people with like these wins that really should have been going for the title, but they couldn't because they were outside the storylines and things like that. So I think.
So do you disagree with the notion that it was CM Punk's idea?
It disengages the fact, and I don't believe for one second that CM Punk talked Tony Khan. But nobody's ever talked Tony Khan out of doing anything. That's a load of
true.
Yeah,
you know.
Tony is pretty. He wants what he wants.
And on the flip side to that, Meltzer gave a completely different story at the time of why they were doing away with it. They were doing away with it because of the what was it similar things to what I just said. So they were sort of struggling with it.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to this guy over here, Eric?
Eric.
Yeah, he's also known as Bryce.
Eric's a legend, but I don't know who Bryce is. He's a bit of a bell end.
Bryce is a bell end.
Who let that? Who let the smeghead magician on the chat? Why did you
Screw you, Henny.
call it?
Screw you.
Oh my God!
It's good to finally put a voice to the face.
The mystique.
Let's go to Liam really quickly. Liam, what are your thoughts on the majestic rankings of AEW?
So this is interesting because it's not very often I actually agree with Haney, but I kind of do. I didn't like the rankings originally. I mean, you've got like people who can have like rack up wins on like dark elevation and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden like they're pushing for the title. So for me, I wasn't a big obviously fan of it. Now, obviously, dark elevation's not around anymore. I'm more curious to see how this is going to work. To be honest,
yeah.
Now, I guess we'll talk about it in a bit. But me and Liam have a bet going on.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So we had this bet that if Cody finishes the story, I get 2 T-shirts. If he doesn't, he gets 2 T-shirts from PWT.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be nice and we'll make it the cheapest way possible. 2 mystery shirts.
Okay.
But it has to be against Roman. Remember?
Yeah, you can't finish. You don't finish the story against Seth. That's a downgrade.
I mean, legitimately, when he pointed into the crowd, he pointed at Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I mean, he.
No, sorry, I meant him up there.
Yeah, I meant that guy, the guy with
sorry,
the.
Sorry about that confusion.
I was going to take on the guy with the replica belt. That's who I was. Going to finish my story with this guy from Kalamazoo, Michigan. That's who I'm going for.
All right, Alex, do you have anything you want to say before we?
No, I'm good just now.
Okay, let's go to our next. Let's go on to our next one. Our next one is going to be, let's stay with AEW for a little bit. I listened to a very interesting podcast where they were talking about if AEW is in a position to become the #1 wrestling promotion in America. And the person that was on the podcast said, in absolutely uncertain terms, AEW will never be the #1 wrestling promotion in North America or in America, in the Americas, because ratings, ticket sales, all this stuff that's going down, and that their concerns should be focused on being the absolute #2 promotion and holding TNA Impact back. So, obviously we have declining ticket sales in the smaller markets. Their key demographics are not hitting during the ratings. So does Tony Khan need to pivot from trying to overtake WWE, which is a huge juggernaut, and try to make sure that they hold on to that #2? Canada Dry, you go first, my friend.
Well, that's a tough one because even if you don't overtake WWE, you still want to be nipping at their heels.
Yeah.
If like Pepsi's always been #2 to Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
But always has been nipping at Coca-Cola's heels.
Yeah.
So I don't think you want to focus on being #2.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, we're settling for this spot. We realize we're never going to beat them. I think that's a wrong mindset. You don't come in to the Stanley Cup playoffs and hope, well, if I can finish #2 in this whole playoff thing, we're successful. No, you want to win that cup. You get right to be #2.
Yes.
Let's go with Bryce. Bryce, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, as much as it pains me to say, I don't know that AEW could ever really top what they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, the caliber of star power that WWE has, I mean, it is what it is. And you know, I totally agree with just trying to focus. I mean, not even focus on being the number 2, just focus on being the best company they can possibly be at this point in time. And they're still a young company.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of hills to climb, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't think you don't. I think that's the better way to look at it. You don't focus on being number 2. You focus on being the best you can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, legitimately, TNA their product has improved over the last year. I mean, they are gaining, they are in ratings wise, they're double digits, where WWE is single digits and AEW is in single digits as well in terms of exponential growth. But I mean, we're talking 20, 30% in the ratings and viewership week after week after week for the last year for TNA. Like, they're nipping at AEW's heels as well. I think they're putting together an amazing product. Let's go with Al. You know, let's go with Haney. He's salty enough to give us the truth.
Well, first off, what I would say about the whole number 1, number 2 thing is as much as you can sort of look at it and you can have some fun with it. What was it in the sort of fan base? What does that actually mean? When if AEW were hypothetically tomorrow with number 1, what was it, a wrestling promotion? What does that mean? What have they achieved? What does that give them? It doesn't give them anything positive, because the way people work is when something's an underdog, they build it up, but as soon as it's the top dog, they want to bring it down. You know, what was it called? And eventually, what's going to happen is that you could potentially have a scenario of WCW and WWE again. One of them's going to go out of business because the other one's going to want to take over the other one. Yeah. It's not good for wrestling from that standpoint. I don't think it's something. I don't think it's something. What was it that even WWE look at as themselves really? What was it internally as the number 1 wrestling company, because they don't even look at themselves as a wrestling company. You know, they're in the entertainment businesses, to coin a phrase. You know.
Yeah.
But that's my perspective on it. You know, as for what the TNA thing, where AEW's biggest risk is taking the eye off the ball with TNA, I think, because a lot of the fans that aren't going to AEW shows were the ones that jumped on AEW at the beginning, and they've waned away because they've got too much of a sort of WWE product in AEW the last 18 months, so they've looked for something else, and TNA's been offering that.
Yeah.
Alex has an interesting theory, actually. He believes, possibly, that Stephanie McMahon is injecting money into TNA.
I think there's somebody injecting money into TNA, yeah, and I've got a funny suspicion that Stephanie, and this is nothing I've heard. This is just a wild thing in my head, you know. Especially after the pay-per-view where they were showing the mysterious woman, sort of like, you know, a lot of people said, "Oh, that's Dixie's coming back" and things like that. You know, somebody's putting money into that company, and to me, it would make sense if it was Stephanie.
I mean,
you've got the relationship with you've got the relationship with the streaming company. Their productions went through the roof, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of what they're doing, so somebody's put.
And you had TNA representation at the Rumble last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what was it called? Yeah, that as well. And on the sort of flip side to that, a lot of the WWE talent that's been released haven't went anywhere else but TNA. You know, so what was it called? This is me maybe putting my taking 2 and 2 and getting 5. You know, but just as a sort of possibility. You know, I don't think with the rumours that's been going on and the way Stephanie's left, I think she's obviously on her mother's side. She's taken the side of this woman as well, I think. And the fact that Vince came back and she left straight away, I think there's more to come out about that.
Hold off on that, because we're going to get to that a little later if you want to come back after.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing to remember is this: Anthem is a $1 billion company. Anthem is a $1 billion company. And so, you know, it wouldn't be the first time somebody from WWE has financially helped another promotion. I mean, WWE is partly responsible for funding ECW and helping them meet payroll. So, I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that WWE or somebody from WWE or related has done something for another wrestling promotion. Liam, your thoughts really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with the terms of AEW, the way you've got to look at it is WWE has got so much of a head start. You're talking about a company what's like, 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
obviously, in the wrestling industry against somebody with 5 years. So there's always going to be that place where you can't compete. And I think you're right. I think they need to focus more on TNA because I've watched the TNA myself, and it is a good product.
Yeah, it's an amazing product. I think TNA and what they're doing, especially the women's division. I mean, last night the Royal Rumble really showcased the women better than the men. We had Jordan Grace from TNA. Naomi is possibly going to be fully back with WWE. The women's Royal Rumble actually, to me, legitimately was better than the men's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Just because we got Jordan Grace.
Can I just add something to that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of TNA perspective, because I'm like a TNA fan. I think TNA need to watch out because they're now in the scenario where AEW and they can develop these stars, and AEW and WWE are sitting there and they're just going to cherry pick, because they've got the money to bring them in. Like, I mean, everybody's like,
and the platforms.
yeah, what was it called? I mean, she's there. She's there, but was it on WWE TV? What's TNA getting out of it? What was it? People think, well, she's coming to WWE really soon. No, she's got a 2-year deal with TNA. What was it? And they're really going to need to protect their talent. If they're going to be a company that's going to have a turnaround of talent every 2 years, that's dangerous because they could end up back where they were.
Yeah, that's true.
What was it called? On the flip side to the agreement, I've got a funny feeling. Come the big pay-per-view this year at TNA, that AJ Styles will be in their Hall of Fame, and I think that's what the deal is. Again, that's just me speculating, but
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's just
All right, get up next. We'll talk to you later, Alex, if you have another opinion. We got another caller.
Just keep going because I've got an opinion about everything.
Yeah, but we got another caller, so we got to make room.
Okay, let me piss off.
All right, well, we'll see you in a bit. Sorry.
All right, so let's talk free agent. Let's talk about the biggest free agent. Hey, we're joined by Shay. What's going on?
How you guys doing today? Go Niners.
Shane used to be on a podcast called the Shane Experience.
Yeah,
Shane LY Experience.
Shane LY. What is Shane LY?
Well, because my initials, right? Shane Leslie Yoshihara. So, and then it's the reason why I do it like that, Shane LY, because then ultimately my nickname for gamer tag Sly Showtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like it. I like it a lot. So let's talk about free agent.
The only half Japanese guy that doesn't like sushi.
Yeah. No, actually, there's one guy went to a disc golf tournament with that was half Japanese too, and he's actually allergic to seafood. So that's the only other Japanese person I ever met that doesn't eat seafood. Yeah.
So the biggest free agent right now is Kazuchika Okada. You can say Alex Hammerstone and Jacob Fatu and all this other jazz, but it's Okada. I mean, plain and simple, it's Okada. Now, he has shown up in TNA since he announced that he is departing New Japan Pro Wrestling. The rumor, of course, is that AEW has offered him, basically, they backed up a Brinks truck to Okada's front door and said, just write yourself a check, we'll cash it. We'll make sure the cash is in there for it. But we've talked about this before, and Canada Dry offered it. I'm going to go with Canada Dry first. If you're Okada, who do you go with? Do you go with WWE, which has got a global reach, or do you go with AEW because of the purity of the program and the purity of wrestling?
Okay, so if I'm Okada, I'm going to AEW.
Yeah.
But if I'm AEW, I'm saying no to Okada.
Really?
Because I think that their roster it's too bloated, and bringing in Okada, it just moves someone else to the back of the line that needs their star shined up.
Yeah.
I think Okada, if they gave him the Shinsuke Nakamura treatment that they're giving Shinsuke now.
Yeah.
Gave him a Rumble win next year, maybe even.
Yeah.
For a big main event match. I think it'd be amazing. Like, I don't think AEW gets better if they have Okada.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he moves the needle. You're getting the same fans that you have with just a new shiny toy.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about Sasha Banks too.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Shane. Shane, your thoughts.
Selfishly, AEW, just because then there's still the possibility he could do the whole New Japan thing.
Yeah.
And even if, depending on how AEW does the contract, maybe even the TNA thing once in a blue moon too, besides the Mexican cities and stuff. But really, it all depends. What does he want to do? A travel schedule that he's not really used to. He's only really gone around Japan with the off North American appearances and UK appearances, but it's not. So does he want to do the week to week or almost a few times a week basis, or does he want to just do maybe 1 or 2 matches a week? So it all depends on his. So obviously he wants a loaded schedule, WWE, right? But if he wants to kind of choose his whole path and when he wants to take breaks here or there, or when he wants to go to back home, well, it's probably the AEW route, because I don't see TNA putting up the offer that AEW probably put up. So that's why I don't think TNA is even in the running to begin with. So
yeah. I mean, you know, here's the thing. Okada is not a young guy. I mean, he's in his mid-30s, you know, which is generally when you start going on the backside of your career, you know. And so, I mean, I think that plays a part in it.
And he should go to NXT to learn to wrestle first.
Oh, Haney. Hot take, Haney.
Can anybody even go 60 minutes with them in NXT like he's done in the Tokyo Dome many times before?
No.
Let me just say, if they sent him to NXT first, like if WWE signed him and he went to, like that, that's good for NXT, but that's bad for his star.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they like, I don't give, if he goes to WWE, he's got to get the AJ Styles treatment right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, there's no.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bryce, your thoughts, my friend.
Okada is somebody I'm kind of impartial to for a couple of reasons. It's like Canada Dry said. He's not somebody that I think is going to move the needle or improve the product at all. So it's kind of in his ballpark, like what's going to be the best situation for him, I think. And I don't know if he's in this for money or if he's in this to just get some new scenery. But I mean,
the yen is down.
Yeah.
One of the reasons.
Yeah.
AEW's roster, as much as it pains me to say, is starting to get kind of bloated, and they really do. If they want to improve that product, I think they really need to start focusing on what they already got in home. I mean, if you're talking AEW, the things they really need to improve on is women's division, big time.
Huge.
Karina Diva addressed that last night. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go with Liam. Liam, your thoughts.
So we did obviously a show yesterday on the whole Okada thing, and the two things we obviously said was, one, we don't know obviously what Okada wants to do. Does he want to go full time? Does he want to base the headline WrestleMania? We don't know what he wants to do. Then the other thing is, it's like we feel like he's going to find a way back to New Japan, whether that's like working like shows, obviously with the partnership type thing. His partner's obviously big, obviously in Japan. So for me, I have to say TNA.
Yeah. I mean, I'm good either way. I mean, TNA tapes, they're not live. They do a month's worth of taping in one weekend or in 1 week, and then they put out the shows. So, I mean, technically Okada could really show up for a week, do the tapings that they need to do, go home, go do whatever he needs to do, come back for pay-per-views, because pay-per-views are live. They don't tape their pay-per-views, and then, you know, keep doing it. And
but here's the thing. Okada, you know, he's done the thing in New Japan. He needs that notoriety signing. He needs to be at an All In. He needs to be at a WrestleMania. He needs that giant stage.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't do those two things, one of those two things, he's just big in Japan.
Yeah. And then the song Alpha Bill song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, here's the thing. I mean, you look at how much New Japan has grown over the years, especially with their own streaming service. American wrestling fans love New Japan. They have tuned in. He's done everything he possibly could do in New Japan, and I see exactly that's why he wants to leave. At the same time, though, I don't know if he's a needle mover to the general populace. I think the casual wrestling fan does not realize or recognize Okada as a top 5 wrestling god in 2024. I think the average WWE fan could care less whether he shows up or not. But your average TNA fan, I think TNA might be the best move for him.
I was just gonna say, most WWE fans do not have a clue who the hell Okada is, because that's the problem. They're just trapped in that one little bubble. When you got AEW fans or TNA fans, are usually generally more other wrestling brand fans or wrestling fans in general. So yeah, that's the big difference with Okada between WWE versus everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's its own ecosphere. WWE promotes from within. They have NXT, that's their feeder system. Then you go to the main roster, then you become a superstar, and blah, blah, blah. AEW is not that way. New Japan's not that way. TNA, MLW, none of them have their own sphere, because I know Maxwell Jacob Friedman when he was wrestling on the Indies. And to see him in AEW was like, wow, man, that's a big risk. But now look at what he's been able to do. Same with Orange Cassidy. They don't have a feeder system. Their feeder systems is the independents.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Indies, then you're a fan of AEW or TNA. Like, you're not a fan of WWE for the most part. So,
all right. Thank you so much, Shane, for calling in. If you want to call in again before the show's over, feel free.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for having me on, boys.
All right.
So let's go to speaking of WWE, let's spend some time with WWE. And the first thing is, on the board of directors for TKO, none other than The Rock has shown up. He is now on the board of directors for William Morris Endeavor, TKO, whatever the hell you want to call it. Obviously, there's probably a good reason why he's on the board of directors, and we'll actually get to that in a little bit. What does this do does this add legitimacy to The Rock as a businessman, but also to TKO as a promotion? Canada Dry, go first.
It's interesting that The Rock's whole thing, signing with WWE, comes just before this charge on Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
it's almost like they're trying to pave the goodness. See, everyone loves The Rock. He's part of our team. Look at that big smile on The Rock. Like, come on. Like if you saw The Rock, you just want to give him a big hug because he's just this nice guy. So I think that was a sort of like a goodwill sort of look at us sort of thing, the signing. Because they knew this was coming.
Oh, yeah.
They knew the storm was about to hit. They just didn't know how hard it was going to rock the boat.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good move for The Rock. Definitely huge for him. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, true. Let's go with Mr. Newcomb. Mr. Newcomb.
Well, I think that's good for all parties involved there. I mean, is it a better deal for The Rock? Maybe I don't know, but it is odd timing with the whole thing with Vince going on. But for me, like, who else do you put in that place at this point? I mean, The Rock's a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Okay, let's go with Liam.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows how great The Rock is. I think it's a great move all around. And yeah, the only downside is, I think we've all said it, is the timing just seems really, really weird.
It's a coincidence. I want to respond to Tiffany, because she says NXT crowds will know Okada. NXT fans also love indies and Japanese wrestling. Obviously, you're kind of, you're going back to the glory days of the black and gold, which was an amazing part of WWE, because NXT was blowing WWE, SmackDown, and Raw out of the water consistently. The problem you run into now is that was Triple H's baby. Triple H is now part of the main roster. He's creative for the main roster. I don't know who's doing creative for NXT, but it has been boring as crap. and they don't
Oh,
have
John.
they don't have the star power that they did when Samoa Joe and Adam Cole and all these guys.
You know who was really good last night in the Rumble was Braun Breaker.
Oh yeah,
This guy, I confess I haven't watched a lot of Braun Breaker,
yeah.
but he looked amazing.
Him, Carmelo Hayes looked really good. You know, the NXT and even the NXT women looked. Tiffany,
I think Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker are going to be on the main roster soon because
oh yeah, absolutely.
the way they pushed Braun Breaker in that Rumble last night,
Yeah,
eliminating Osmos Jones or whatever the hell his name is.
yeah, Omos,
I hate that name.
Osmosis Jones.
I call him Osmosis.
But yeah, I the problem with Okada is so synonymous with New Japan, and realistically, like, yeah, Dragon Lee comes from AEW and New Japan and CMLL and AAA, and he makes his mark, but he doesn't get that pop like Braun Breaker does or Carmelo Hayes. You know, guys who have come up through the system in WWE. So.
He-Man's back.
He-Man, I have the power.
You know what I watched last night? I watched a couple of episodes of Transformers G1 last night. I was like, I feel like watching some Transformers.
Have you watched Masters of the Universe Revolution on Netflix?
Oh, I can't watch that. It's too woke now. The last one was woke.
No.
It's not woke, this one?
The new one's not woke.
The one where Tila got all the power, I was like, what the?
If you finished it, it was actually quite good. You just didn't let it time.
I finished the Tila one.
Anyway, you should be getting cancelled. I get cancelled for using the word woke the last time.
Let's go to our next one, and this is a huge thing. Netflix and WWE have come together, formed an alliance. Raw will be shown on Netflix starting in January 2025. The estimated value that Netflix paid WWE was over $5 billion to get those streaming rights for live streaming for WWE's Monday Night Raw. What does this do for other promotions, including SmackDown, as a brand? So I'm going to go with Canada Dry first.
All right. First, let me just say this is huge for Canada.
Yeah.
Because everything that WWE owns right now is on Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Including the WWE Network.
Yeah.
So if everything goes to Netflix in Canada, we could have some really good programming for most Canadians who don't want to get the extra Sportsnet package. So this also opens up things in Canada for AEW possibly to move to Sportsnet because their TSN deal is not the best. They have Collision and Rampage behind a paywall for TSN Plus. So if they could get move to Sportsnet, it would be huge for AEW.
Okay.
In Canada.
Hey, your thoughts, my friend?
Pretty much the same story here in the UK, and we can also say for AEW, sadly, I think it'll go the other way. The fact that WWE is leaving the TNT Sports probably means that WWE is leaving TNT Sports for Netflix. Same deal as Canada; they're getting everything. Probably means AEW is probably going to end up on TNA Sports, which is going to put it behind a paywall, which I think would be a bad move unless they can do something and keep it on ITV. But I've got a bad feeling that that's what's going to happen because obviously AEW and even TNA would want the money, So one of these promotions is going to want that WWE money that's now going to be on the table. So from a standpoint from AEW, it could actually have a detrimental effect because it's on ITV, which is free television, and it moving behind a paywall. To give you perspective, WWE, was it live? Again, it's about 1 a.m, do about 100,000 in the UK, But when AEW showing sort of the next day, in the UK. Does about 300,000 to 400,000, which is actually quite good, So you don't want to lose that. But again, I think this is the start of other things as well. You keep on referring it to the WWE deal. I've got a funny suspicion UFC is probably involved somewhere this down the line. I think this is an Endeavour deal, and once they sort of the Amazon stuff and the Fox stuff's finished, I think you'll see UFC on Netflix as well. So yeah. I think the WWE was the dangling of the carrot for the bigger thing, essentially.
That's the cool thing, because if you can get your foot in the door with WWE, then you're like, okay, now we want this, right? Yeah. You're like, well, it's working out. So
the one thing that worries me is how they're going to monetize it. What they're going to do with the ad breaks. The
thing is, if you got the normal subscription, you won't get commercials. If you have the cheap one, that's where you'll get commercials.
Yeah.
Does that apply to live sports though? Remember, live sports is a different matter altogether.
No. They said if you have the premium package with Netflix, you will not get any commercials.
Yeah.
It won't cost me any extra, because I'm about to just lose the WWE network through this, and I pay $9.99 a month for that. So I would probably pay the extra couple of pounds to get the ad free. Then, if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree. Let's go with Bryce.
I'm actually kind of with Haney on this one. I think AEW is going to end up behind probably some kind of paywall out in the other countries. I mean, this probably bodes well for WWE in Canada and UK and all those markets that are used to having WWE behind a paywall. So I mean, good on them for doing that. But I mean,
I don't know. I think it's good for AEW, because now
I hope so.
There's other places they can negotiate with when you're looking to get that streaming deal on HBO. You're like, listen, we're the only game in town now. They're signed to Netflix.
Yeah, that's obviously true too. Be curious to see where they go with it.
Let's go to Liam.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what the viewership's going to be like on this, because I know a lot of people's obviously got Netflix, obviously watching certain stuff. I didn't know much about the live stuff, so I'm kind of also curious on that. But yeah, I think we're all in agreement with the AEW thing. It may go behind a paywall, but it's just remains to be seen, I suppose.
Yeah,
Liam, now you haven't really talked as much on this episode, so I want to get your opinion.
Okay.
So obviously, this means that ratings is a bunch of crock if you're putting it on Netflix, right? This is just a sign. Yeah. Ratings is a crock.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the thing is now, and we've said this obviously on many shows, obviously wrestling is going to go down the streaming platform, so you're not going to see it on live TV. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be curious to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I do apologize, Liam. I didn't mean to say that you sold Dave on. That was very heartless of me.
Look, what I do on the weekends, none of your business.
And if he wants to talk to ducks on the weekends, he can talk to ducks.
Yes.
Can I just add something on the ratings thing? For me, what was it? That the whole ratings thing is what was it? You know in the chat, and I've said this all along. That was a mistake by Tony Khan, and Jericho bigging it up and all that, and it was fun at the beginning, but when you're doing something, you've got to back it up, and what was it? It sort of backfired on them. When in reality they don't actually mean anything. Ad revenue, look at the ads at TNA that I've got compared to AEW. AEW's got big advertisers and amongst their programming, and that is more important than the numbers watching, because that's where the money comes from.
Oh yeah, you get that video game ad, Suicide Squad. You're getting a lot of money for advertising that Suicide Squad game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the economics is this. We're not going to ever know how many people are watching WWE on Netflix, because Netflix does not give away their viewership. For those who don't know, that was a big sticking point with the SAG and writers' strike here in America, was that Netflix doesn't reveal how much of a show gets streamed, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. They just don't do it. It will be interesting to see how they do this. I guarantee you, your prices for Netflix are going to go up probably by 30%, because they're going to have to offset that thing. but it brings a whole new piece of the puzzle to fans of WWE are going to, if they aren't on Netflix already, are going to join just to get to that.
So
But
Netflix is actually experiencing a boom in subscribers right now.
yes, absolutely. And here's the kicker: the network, the WWE network, is still technically with Peacock and will be for at least another 2 years. So whether that transitions over, but I think Warner Brothers, HBO Max, Discovery, Universal, whatever the name of the company is.
This is where I have to say, Americans, the world does not revolve around you.
The hell you say?
This deal with Netflix is a global thing.
Yes.
Like how well they're going to do globally with this deal.
Yeah.
Is amazing because they get all the back content in the rest of the world. The WWE Network is done.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's going to be? Well, go ahead, Haney.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You just mentioned the Peacock thing. There's an interesting element to this as well. As apparently the WWE's Raw deal ends in October, so Peacock might be the only way to watch Raw for 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
It could be on Peacock in America, but what the rest of that, I guess we'd get it on Sportsnet in Canada and the rest of the world on their sites.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that HBO, Discovery, Max, whatever the name of their company is, I guarantee you that they are feeling pressure from their stockholders to make AEW a space and a place for streaming on their network. It's going to happen. I mean,
how do you do that, but that not sacrifice the relationships with fight and things like that, or does that become just business? That we've had this relationship for 5 years, but now we're on HBO, we're on Amazon, so yeah, you know, fight wherever you go. We don't need you anymore. You know, how does that?
Fight is an interesting thing because fight isn't getting that much percentage out of these shows.
No, and neither is Bleacher Report. And to be honest with you, I've watched stuff on Fight and I've watched stuff on Bleacher Report, and their streaming is horrible.
The Fight is a necessary evil right now for AEW, but the relationship doesn't need to be there if you got to, like, it's like you find a better girlfriend and you're like, bye.
You know what? All right, let's go to our last one. And that is this. Earlier this week on January 25th, Wall Street Journal put out a amazing article about a lawsuit. The lawsuit is from Janelle Grant, who is suing Vince McMahon for sex trafficking, luring her into a sexual relationship with himself, John Laurinaitis, and a former UFC WWE champ who probably is most likely Brock Lesnar. She said that she signed her NDA in 2022, McMahon paying her $3 million. She was locked in a private office multiple times. She was given to
allegedly. Make sure we say allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
Can I also
passed
say,
around?
Can you cover that poor dog's ears? It doesn't need to hear the horrificness of this story. That poor pup doesn't need to hear.
You don't need to hear. I didn't even read the text after I read one little text by what it was, and I was like, I can't finish this. I cannot finish reading these texts.
So less than 24 hours later, Vince McMahon resigns, this time permanently, as he is no longer allowed in the WWE offices or Endeavor offices. He's off.
And JP, we now have no McMahon representation other than the son-in-law.
Yeah, Triple H,
who's isn't blood. There's no McMahon representation in WWE right now.
Yeah, and according to the Wall Street Journal, anybody associated with WWE or Endeavor are not allowed to talk about this ongoing situation. They were told to keep mum, which obviously if you watch the scrum after Royal Rumble last night, Triple H just said, hey, I want to focus on positives, not negatives. This is what we're going to do. So,
JP, what did they expect Triple H to say? Like, he's in a rock and a hard place. He's if he says something against Vince McMahon, he's going to get in big trouble for that.
Yeah.
If he says something for Vince McMahon, he's going to get in big trouble from the fans. Yeah. He's in a no-win situation. when these questions are coming. So people are jumping on Triple H. He's like, I'm not a Triple H guy, but he's between a rock and a hard place. So
I think the question is realistically is of all the executives that were part of WWE during the transition from being a publicly traded company to being part of William Morris Endeavor, who knew and how much did they know? That's a big, huge thing. Let's go Canada Dry first. Canada Dry, your thoughts on this whole shenanigans?
So the interesting part of the story for me is the beginnings.
Yeah.
She's had some harsh troubles in life, some deaths or something, and she's in this apartment building and she has no job, and someone has Vince McMahon's phone number.
Yeah.
Someone has just hold on a sec, Haney. Someone has Vince McMahon's phone number, and they hook her up with a job, and Vince McMahon's like, hell yeah! I guess he sent the picture along with it, like she's a good-looking girl, and it kind of starts from there, which is the interesting part of it all.
Well, that's a wee bit wrong. She actually stayed in the same condo, apartment that Vince stayed in, and that's how they met.
That's not what it says in the paper and the lawsuit. It says someone phoned.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll keep going, Canada Dry.
Yeah, so it's this tough thing. It's like, who did know about this? The question was asked that last night of Triple H, and he pretty much non-answered it. Why did you vote him back on the board?
Yeah,
and that's a tough question to be asking live. And he said he obviously lied and said I didn't read the allegations. There's no way, and he's gonna lie, and you got to do what you got to do to save your ass, right?
Yeah. I mean,
all of us in that situation would lie.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Let's go with Alex Haney. Mr. Haney, your thoughts?
It's a very difficult one. I mean, I don't know how somebody like Vince. Sorry, not Vince. Triple H. I mean, how does he deal with that? If he knew he's got two daughters, what was it called? So there's lots of questions to be asking. Like, what was it? Did Stephanie know? Is that why Stephanie left so quickly? What pressure was put on it? What pressure was put on him to make the vote? To bring him back in. It was pretty much. It was almost like a hostile takeover. There's so many questions to be asked before it even gets down. Like they have a relationship. Like from reading it, they have a relationship all the way through like 2019 into 2000s, and then the sort of stories start to ramp up. What was it? You really need to read it all, Aaron, because it just gets worse and worse as you go down the sort of lawsuit. I mean, literally, it gets insane. What they're actually saying now. What was it? I know I'm coming from like UK in the way that like the sort of system works here. Why is that a civil case? Why isn't it criminal? What was it? Because it seems to me that if this is all true, then they need to be locked up. They shouldn't be like it shouldn't be like a case of like let's pay them out 10 million, in damages.
Well, here's the thing: if you go criminal first, she gets nothing for her pain and anguish.
Yeah.
If you go lawsuit first, then criminal, then you get your cake and you can eat it too.
Yeah.
See, I don't think you can do that in the UK. It's either a civil case or a what was it? A sort of criminal case. That was why, like, take the sort of Amber Heard Johnny Depp case. Johnny Depp lost in the UK, yeah. But he won in the US.
Now, my brother was sorry, Alex. My brother was assaulted with a vehicle, and was in a wheelchair for at least a year. Now, if that was criminal, he doesn't get any compensation for that.
Yeah.
The guy just goes to jail or goes back to his country or whatever.
Yeah.
But, he chose to say it was an accident, thus making him some money out of his pain.
Yeah.
So, making it personal, you want to make something out of this to account for your pain.
Yeah.
Well, and the interesting thing is she's not come out and said anything. She's talking through her lawyer.
Yeah.
But, going civil first and then going criminal is a way better way because they're trying to null and void the NDA that she signed. That's the reason why she's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go with Mr. Eric. Your thoughts, my friend?
I don't know. This is pretty crazy stuff that's coming out. I don't know. It's a pretty awful situation, but I guess where I kind of want to take this is how is this going to trickle down into is there other people involved?
Yeah.
And is Triple H one of them?
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, from my standpoint, in my opinion, you can't tell me that nobody else didn't know that something was going on. I mean, especially with how some of those text messages, you read them and you just see that there's definitely other people. I mean, he brings up the tech guys. Yeah. He brings up other wrestlers. I don't know. It's a pretty nasty situation. And I don't know. I mean, if she's going for the money, it's I don't know. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
I think this is just the beginning of something bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Linda knew too. I mean, we can't exclude Linda McMahon from all of this because she's the one who wrote the check for $3 million to hush up Janelle when she originally signed her NDA. So,
yep.
All right, Liam, your turn, my friend.
Well, the thing is, right, am I surprised with all these things coming out? Not really. I think the surprising thing for me really is the detail that this lawsuit has got into. I think Haney said it best. The more you read into it, you're more like, is this a movie? Is this real? It's just absolutely despicable. Now, the law side, I obviously don't know much about that, but I feel like there's more been going on behind the scenes than what obviously we know. Obviously, I'm talking the family-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very similar to the Harvey Weinstein sort of thing.
Very similar. Yeah. And
you also look at it makes you think, were there wrestlers like, say, Ashley Mazzaro, who committed suicide? Did something happen to her?
Oh, I guarantee you. Yeah.
What about the woman who gave birth or was pregnant?
Yeah.
That's a whole different person, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's how many people down the line for how long Vince was in charge are going to come out of this?
Well, I think what Janelle said was that she wanted this to blast the doors open for other victims to come forward. And I have a feeling we're going to hear about this for years to come.
Yeah.
And there's other names.
I feel there's wrestlers involved as well. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, not to throw accusations. You go through history. Who's been in it?
Let's not say any names here because this is where we could get in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
You can speculate all you want on who it is, but there's some big names out there that were close to Vince McMahon over the years. Brother.
Yeah. and the realism is anybody associated.
Are you talking about Dunk Hogan?
No, I would never implicate Hulk Hogan.
I says Dunk.
You know what, brother? I would never implicate that son of a bitch, brother.
Anybody else want to add anything before we?
A quick question about it. Where do you think? I mean, you're talking about what's the timing, the timeline on this? You're talking about the Harvey Weinstein thing. So I know Harvey went to jail. Was there several cases beforehand? What was it? And then there was a criminal. What was it? I mean, I know I've read a lot about the sort of Bill Cosby thing, and he's now out, and his was more criminal than civil. Where does it go? What was it in terms of, like, you talk about your statutes? What is the limitation on that for civil cases? You're talking about going back to the 1980 when he took over. What's happened in all the years? Has it stuff been happening and progressively getting worse because it seems to me, what was it, to be at that sort of degrading level of the document, that's been worked on, over years. There's confidence behind them to be able to do that, it just, why isn't it locked up? That bit's angering me at the moment now, after reading that. Why is he able to spend some millions and then go and live his life the last whatever it is,
Yeah.
Sorry to rant.
I mean, I think there's way more out there that has been kept secret. Most NDAs you have, like, I believe up to 10 years to contest the NDA. So maybe women in the 80s and the 90s might not necessarily have the opportunity, but they're going to come forward, and they're going to talk, and they're going to say, and they're going to have press conferences. And I think this is going to go on for years. I don't think we'll get the full breadth of how big this really is until like 3-4 years down the road.
DFB, there's a scummy layer on professional wrestling.
Oh, there is.
That across the board, not just WWE, AEW, TNA, down the indies.
Yep.
It's the scummy layer that just gets ignored.
Yeah.
It's tucked away. It's swept under the rug. I hope that this just exposes that scummy layer, and I hope that people are held accountable for what they did.
Yeah, they will be. I in all honesty, I think that when you're dealing with publicly traded companies, they obviously have a better situation at hand to handle financially, at least, what could come out of this. So. But it's a black mark on wrestling. I mean, you want wrestling to be known for amazing matches and good people, and not Vince McMahon doing what he did. So, well, guys, go ahead.
How does Endeavour separate themselves from that? Did they obviously they've got rid of Vince? Did they just throw a couple of people on the fire along the way to sort of to sort of distance themselves from this whole thing,
Yeah, I think that's what they do. I think anyone who was associated with Vince McMahon, like Bruce Prichard, they fired that bucktooth guy. What's his name? Kevin Dunn.
Yeah,
Kevin Dunn.
I think they did that prior because they knew something was coming.
I mean, that
was an early move to make good on the goodwill thing of The Rock and all that. You can't have the goodwill with Kevin Dunn sitting around.
I think you need to look at, when corporations take over other corporations, they do their due process. They go through and they look at the risk model and whether or not it's a risk worthy to take in order to, in order to make that purchase of the other, your other corporation. I guarantee you that Endeavor knew very much what is happening, what has happened. And for me, I think they looked at the risk and said, it's worth the risk. Maybe this won't come out. Maybe, if it does, maybe it'll be short term, but this isn't a short term issue. And I think if Endeavor knew, they shouldn't have bought it. They owe their stockholders major amount of respect to say, hey, we were thinking about buying WWE, but let's be honest, the culture of rape and shenanigans
I don't think they knew when they got on board right away. They
I guarantee you they knew.
Yeah.
You think so?
They knew as soon as the allegations came out, because it would have been on paper what she was accusing.
Oh, right, because Vince hadn't sold yet when he retired.
Yes. To think of this, the money that's involved in that deal. This is $3 million, right? If Vince had just gave her that $3 million, this would have all went away. I'm not saying it should. This would have all went away unless there was other stuff. This is what it's about. It's $3 million, but he's got a history of doing it. He's got a history of not doing stuff and then pulling out. He did it just too hard,
Yeah.
Of all the millions he's got, they knew that what was there, because this stuff's been documented and probably shared amongst the boys as well, but they can't talk about it because they're contracted to the company. A lot of people knew about this, and what was it, and have been hushed up about it, and that's what disgusts me about it all, because ultimately the WWE is a show for children and kids, and this year, just after reading that document, I know you couldn't read it, Adam. I was absolutely sorry. It was just sickening. I do apologize.
Yeah, I couldn't read more than one page. I might go down that rabbit hole today, but
I read a decent majority of it, and it is extremely.
And you couldn't finish either.
Yeah, I couldn't. It was, it was just disgusting. It was absolutely horrid. Anyways, hey, sorry to end on a sour note, but nonetheless, this is the end of the show, which means we gotta go through our rigmarole, which is hawking our goods and just giving away the farm. You want to help us out? You want us to get awesome guest hosts and guests and wrestlers and managers and people important in wrestling? That costs money. Now, you can write us a big shiny check at Big Shiny Matrix at hotmail.com. That's directly to our PayPal account. You can go ahead and leave a comment for $1, $2, or $3. Hell, you can even sign up for the YouTube tiers. Why don't you just go to our website too? Click on a few ads, because all that money comes into the coffers of All Effing Wrestling, in which case we search the world for the greatest of the greats to be on our show. Now, if you want to show the world how much you love us, there's only one way to do it, and that is to go to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling, where you can get the shirt that launched 1,000 shirts. Yeah, legitimately, we have about 1,000 shirts, but the original one was the effing fingers, as worn by Natalia Markova. You could wear our show shirt, the All Effing Wrestling Show, as modeled by Natalia Markova. You can go ahead and get the Sharpshooter Action or the Hot Wheels shirt. Guys, we're a podcast. We're a t-shirt company that does a few podcasts here and there. That's what I'm saying. And we do picture wrestling as well.
You were talking about 1 and 2 earlier on with AEW and WWE. AEW, you have kicked AEW's ass as a t-shirt company.
They're a t-shirt company that does professional wrestling on the side.
We got some pretty sharp logos that GFB, myself, and Alex Haney have come up with.
Yeah.
Even Liam has come up with a shirt or two here. So we're looking pretty good as our branding is second to none.
Oh yeah. Nobody brands like we are. We are brand whores, is what we are. Brand whores. Now
I have one of those brands that the Cowboys use on my ass. It's an AFW logo. So.
Now, if you love old school wrestling, and I know that you do, we give flowers to all the wrestlers that came before. But one guy actually had a show on WWE called The Flower Shop. And that was Adrian Adonis. And, of course, you can get all of his Adrian Adonis gear, well, kind of like this one, at our Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis, where you can get all of your Adrian Adonis gear and show the world how much you love the man, the myth, the legend, the adorable Adrian Adonis. Now, on behalf of Canada Dry, Alex Haney, Bryce Newcomb, hey, Liam, the magician, I am the JFB.
Now, before I give the Just Keep Fighting speech, I just want you to know now, sometimes in life, you get knocked down. It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen. The important thing is that you get back up. You can be down. You just can't stay down. Things in life, people die, friends betray you. We could be down financially. We could be down spiritually. We could be down mentally. But we have a number of people here that will reach out to you and help you pick yourself up. We'll help you dust yourself off and put one foot in front of the other. So lift your fists in the air. And why don't you just keep fighting. Hit it.
Woo, hit it. This has been an effing worldwide media production. You can find us on all social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and others. Head over to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/effing wrestling. And while you're there, click like and subscribe. Want some swag? Head to our store at prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. You can find all these links and much more at our awesome website, effingwrestling.com. As the JFB always says, you can book it.